Hello, everybody who is joining in to our live event. We will start temporarily. Thank you so much for being here. We have a wonderful show for all of you today. All right, let's get the show started, shall we? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Laugh Out Loud performance event today that we're able to host in the WSPark Metaverse event. I'm going to be your host today. I am Snow Yunxue Fu. I am an artist, curator, and also a professor at New York University Tisch School of the Art, Department of Photo and Imaging. And I'm also the organizer of the WSPark, which is the host of today's event, as well as the co-host, who is the DSLCollection founder, Salve. So I'm going to talk a little bit briefly about the exhibition and event, and then I'm actually going to have everybody introduce themselves. Afterwards, we're going to take a look at the order of events page so that all of the audiences join us live or in the recorded broadcast later on will know what do we have in store for you all today. It's a full show, let me tell you. And we've been working so hard in preparing this, so we're super excited to be here with everybody. The WSPark and the Laugh Out Loud Metaverse performance, I will have to say, is really a one-of-a-kind event, and we're so proud to be able to present this to you all. And you will see today, actually, both professor and artist from the School of New York University Tandon School of Engineering and the University of Texas at Austin to share their work in terms of avatar live performance in the WSPark Sensor social VR space, as well as their moving image work. And we're really happy, as you can see on the screen, to have a host of representing artists, and they were able to share a little bit about their work today after we see some of them. We've also put in the comment section, as some of the audience may have noticed, that we have a full Venmo link of the almost 30 minutes long full program of all of the artists. Thank you, Camilla. She has just put the Venmo link on our screen as well. So as the multifaceted Internet Web 2.0, 3.0 event we're having, you're also going to be able to access everybody's work in the Venmo link later on. So we encourage you to take a look at all of the artwork after our event today. Great. And one more thing, just really quick, WSPark is a Metaverse exhibition space that I organized my team to build after the virtual Washington Square Park in the New York City, Manhattan area. And it is co-hosted by the DSLCollection, and we actually officially just opened last fall, 2021. And we're so excited that we were able to open our second event, which is the 3D exhibition of the senior thesis show of New York University Tisch School of the Art Photo Imaging Department. Thank you all if you were able to join our opening 2 weeks ago. And then in conjunction to the new show, we're hosting events like today. And one more event later on, I will talk about this again. So, mark your calendar for our last event as well, which will happen April 30th. We will be hosting new media artist Claudia Hart's Metaverse Artist Talk. So many, many more to in store for you all. So next, I'm actually going to have the DSLCollection founder, Sylvain, to introduce himself a bit and actually also talk a little bit more about DSLCollection, which made this WSPark project as well as our LOL event today possible. And then after that, we will have all of the speakers. I'll be calling out everybody's first name, and we'll have all of the speakers introducing themselves a little bit as well. So Win, please go ahead.
Can you hear me? It's okay?
Yes, we can.
Bonsoir de France. Hello from France. I will speak on behalf of Dominique, my wife, and Karen. Tonight it's Passover dinner, and they are already with the rest of the family, and so I'm going to be the voice of the family today. I want first to thanks a lot Professor Snow, Professor Carla, and Professor Yuliya you're doing, and all naturally the students. With innovation, for me, there is two ways to deal with innovation. A lot of people, it's about wait and see, and very few people, it's about test and learn. And what you're doing is you are in the second category of people. You are testing and learning. A lot of people speak of the metaverse, and you are doing the metaverse. So really, congratulations for your spirit. And I think that how we will move, it's with people a little bit like you, who really wants to not only to learn, but to push the boundaries, and especially today, to push the boundaries of performance. Because it's true that already it was easy in a certain way to, I shall say, put artworks in the Washington Square Garden. But today you will do something even, I shall say, more advanced. It's a live performance. Sorry, it's a live performance. And I think this also will make history in the lens, I should say, at least for the collection, but not only for the collection, for the idea of how art can be, I shall say, infused in this new world in which we have entered. This new world in which we have entered, we've begun to enter it with the DSLCollection since 2005. In 2005, we decided to go digital in order to share collection. Then we're the first one to have a museum Second Life, a first one to an application on iPad. In 2015, we went into virtual reality. In 2020, we went into video games and also in the metaverse with this project. And for us, what you're doing is really, I shall say, not only it's more than inspiring us, it's really pushing us to go out of our boundaries, but also to disseminate what you're doing to as much and as many people as we can. So really, once again, I will look at the recorded version. And once again, thank you so much for what you're doing. I think it's, for us, it's a big, big joy. Like tonight, it's a big, big joy also. And have enjoyed your evening, and hope to see you one day, everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sylvain, for that warm welcome. Yes. And I'm glad that you can join us live today. I think the technology also make it possible that there's simultaneity can happen, but then the recording can also be watched later on, and then interacting with us, via the internet and physical space. So thanks so much, Sylvain, for just your vision and the way that DSLCollection has supported projects like this, and also other projects. This kind of emphasis in the technology in the arts, I think, is a very important one. And as professors, we're all about connecting our students to the real world in terms of where the technological advances is, right? And also how do we utilize it as artists and creatives and designers. And so we're beyond thrilled that we're able to, test the ground, so to speak. And it is really a wilderness, I would describe, right? As there's promises of Web 3.0, and WSPark is one, version of that. There's also, I think, a lot of development and technology stabilization that's still very much being, progressed right now, right? But we're not waiting. We're taking on the challenge, and I'm so glad to be able to have amazing support in the back, as well as amazing team doing it all together. So thank you, Selin. And next, I'm going to call on, just according to the order of my screen, everybody who is a speaker today to briefly introduce yourself, your full name, your background, and also how you're affiliating with this project. So I'm going to start with Camilla, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Camilla Idukivichita. I am Snow's personal assistant, and I've been heavily involved in this project. Today, I'm going to be running a little bit more of the background of the event, but I am a BFA graduate of SCIC in 2020, and I was Snow student, and I continue to be her personal assistant since then.
Thank you so much, Camilla. Wonderful. And next, we'll have Hailing introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hailing. I recently just become one of studio assistant of Snow. And I graduated from SAIC as well, but as like an MFA program in film video department. And I think the program that Snow is doing is pretty fun. And so I really exciting like helping about these kind of like very progressive like VR program. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Hailing. Both Hailing and Camilla has been huge instrument in terms of support of the project. So I really want to thank you for all of that, as well as my other assistant, Phil, Liz, and other people who's been involved in this project. So next on my screen, I think, Anur, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Ainur. I am first year IDM student at New York University. Yeah, my background is information systems. So here I try to make more. I'm here because I want to share my art, my ideas, and approach. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Anur. And how about Maria, if you'd like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Maria. I am also a first year IDM master's student and taking Carla's class together with Ainur. My background is Ukrainian, so I've been in New York for the last 7 years now. Nice to meet you. Excited to join and participate in this.
Wonderful. Thank you, Maria. And then next, Professor Yuliya, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Yuliya Lanina. I'm a University of Texas at Austin professor at the AET department and an artist, and super excited to be here. Thank you, Snow. Thank you, Sylvan. Thank you for hosting this wonderful event, Carla and everybody else.
We're so glad to have you here. Thank you, Yuliya. And next, Max, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Max Trudy. I'm an undergraduate arts and entertainment technology student at the University of Texas at Austin. I'm taking Yuliya's humor and storytelling class. I'm very passionate about comedy and humor, so I wanted to come and show my work and everything that I've worked on because I think it's a lot of fun. And thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Max, for that introduction. Next, Professor Carla, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I am so thrilled to be here. And my full name, Carla Gannis, and I'm an industry professor at New York University in Tandon School of Engineering within the Department of Technology, Culture, and Society. And when you dig deeper, you get Integrated Design and Media. Yay! Where I teach. And it has just been such an amazing experience this semester working with these really talented students and working with my colleague, Yuliya. We'll talk a little bit more about kind of the genesis of this course in a minute. But just thank you, everyone, Sylvan, Snow, and everybody part of the team, students, for putting this together.
Thank you so much, Carla. Yes, we had a really interesting conversation, I think, starting to brainstorm about the event even last year. And I'm just so thrilled that this is a reality that we're participating in right now. So thank you so much for that. And we'll hear more from both Professor Yuliya and Carla a little bit about their class, which a lot of the artwork is coming out of, and where today's event is based from. And then next, we have Lee. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lee Fisher. I graduated with a BA in literature back in 2015. And since then, I've worked as an editorial assistant, a copy editor, a technical writer, and then somehow I became an instructional designer. Fun story. I'm currently a second-year IDM student. I'm in Carla's class, and I've been a writer for a long time, but I enrolled in this class to hopefully become a funnier writer.
Wonderful. Love that. Thank you so much, Lee. Great. Wonderful to have this group of amazing people with me. And like I said, we have a show for you. So let's go to our order of events today, if we may. Wonderful. Everybody should be able to see our order of events so that you know what is coming up. So after the introduction, we're going to have Professor Carla and Yuliya talk to us a little bit more about kind of the back end of things, right? Oftentimes when we work with technology, it's this beautiful sort of front end that we see, whether it's artwork, whether it's a Metaverse exhibition, whether it's avatar performance. But then there's so much in terms of what humans do, right, with those type of events. And, very much so we were going to hear from them. And after that, we're actually going to go directly into our Laugh Out Loud avatar performances, right? So you will then be able to see that actually in our YouTube live link. So if those of you who are joining us on Sensor, please also open up your YouTube link, right? Or Facebook live page in the WSParks is also going to be able to show you those avatar performances. And so after that, we're going to actually have some of the representing students, although we would like to have all of the students joining us, but because of time limitation, we only have a few that will be able to go in depth a little bit more about their artwork after we see a part of their artwork today. And then all throughout the event, as I already kind of see some of our audiences who's able to join us on YouTube or Facebook or Sensor, please leave your comments and your questions in YouTube or in our Facebook, because your comment will actually come back to us live, so that we will be able to see that. And then the last part of today's event, we actually have some questions from the speakers first to each other about the artwork and performances got shared. But then we will also like to highlight some of the questions from the live audiences. If you have a question you'd like to ask any of the artists or about the WSPark project or the thesis 3D exhibition right now that is currently on view on Sensor, or DSLCollection, right? We're here to answer your question today as well. And then again, I just want to highlight this Vimeo link at the bottom is where you're able to see the full almost 30 minutes program of everybody's work, who is from Professor Carla and Yuliya's class. And so if we can come back to the screen, great, wonderful. Next, I'm going to invite Professor Carla and Yuliya to share a little bit about their class, while there's actually a whole host of avatars waiting in our WSPark time, so we can also see them simultaneously as we're hearing a little bit more from our two amazing professors.
That looks so great. Thanks everyone for joining us for Laugh Out Loud today, whether it's in Sensor or YouTube or on Facebook. It's really great to see virtual representations of you. And thank you, Snow, and your entire team, Haling and Camilla, and also other members of the team from my class and Yuliya's, Austin Fenn, James Lee, and Daniel Benitez. And of course, the DSLCollection, Sylvan, and NYU Tisch for supporting this event.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. And I also want to say thanks, Snow and DSLCollection, NYU Tisch, and everybody else for being here. Very excited. I want to begin with a quote from Charlie Chaplin: "A day without laughter is a day wasted." So here we are. A little bit about how the class started. Carla and I have known each other for many years. I think it's over 15 at this point, and participated in a number of shows together, both in US and abroad. And most recently, we did a panel at South by Southwest on humor and storytelling, and also participated in the 9th Inter-Format Symposium of Fluidity of Humor and Absurdity at the Project Art Center in Lithuania. And so collaboration is at the core of our practice, and we decided it would make sense that we will run this as a class together, especially based on our research. So the work that you'll see here today comes from the class Humor Makes Us Better Storytellers that we've been co-teaching. Carla has been doing it from NYU School of Engineering, and I was doing it from Art and Entertainment Technologies at UT Austin. And it's been a lot of fun to do this experimental class together. And so we designed the course to engage students critically in exploring humor and absurd in the production of moving image, works, and performance. And this class has been such a great experience for everyone involved.
Yes, and it has been a joy to work with you, Yuliya, and NYU and UT Austin students this semester. And so you may ask, why at this moment, when humanity is facing so many crises, would we offer a course on humor? And that is because Yuliya and I both believe it can be the agent that humanizes our technology-driven culture, and it can help assuage some of our anxiety during moments of adversity in culture and society. We have had a great group of guest lecturers come to class this semester as well, from Dr. Charlotte Kent, who unpacked notions of the absurd throughout history, to stand-up comedian Valerie Neese, to the comedic conceptual art practices of Michael Rees. Class guests Nathan Phillips and Joe Schiappa instructed our class on how to be funny in any medium forever. And as you'll see in evidence today, students have taken a variety of approaches, from TikTok performance videos to mock Zoom interfaces to game engine generated experiences and live performance, to share with you all thoughtful and imaginative works of comedic storytelling. Job well and humorously done, Angela, Anur, Aman, Ajinkya, Coco, Emma, Gia-Jen, Justin, Lee, Maria, Max, Peter, Samuel, and Sarah.
Yeah, you will very much enjoy seeing the works, and at the end, you'll be able to hear students' presentations. So please stick around for this presentation and also for Q&A with the students. Carla and my creative work addresses storytelling and absurdity, and we bring different aspects of this topic to the work. So through my work, I examine the relationship between absurdity, sexuality, and trauma, with a particular focus on the physical and psychic reconstruction through reassembled disparate parts. And I use various mediums, works on paper, animation, performances, but my theme is always consistent, stitching together the fragments of traumatized consciousness. And so you will see this theme being explored in the animation presented here always and forever, which addresses how our bodies carry stories of our past, how our past is always present in our bodies through the eyes of a young kitten, which you also see as my background, and my alter ego, living out the experience of a theater on the theater stage surrounded by absurd anthropomorphic actors.
And I love your kitten avatar and avatars in your background, Yuliya. And a bit about my performance today. Again, it's really great that Yuliya and I get to present with students so we can share our practices together in this emerging metaverse that we all soon will inhabit more and more in Web3. And so regarding my performance, you see there, Lucille Trackball. Let's see if I can get her to wave at everybody. Hey there, let me dance around a little bit. Yeah, all right. And so please meet artificially intelligent stand-up comedian and my alter ego, Lucille Trackball. They is inspired by the portraits of the 16th century Mannerist painter Giuseppe Arcimboldo, by the American comedy legend Lucille Ball. She needs to dance some more. Yeah. And by, of course, the computer input device, Trackball, hence her name, Lucille Trackball. Currently, there is a plethora of discussion about the ethical dilemmas humans face in working with and teaching machine intelligences. Obviously, machines need diverse role models. And that is so we have hope for a more equitable and inclusive digital future. Let me get her dancing some other way now. Here we go. Oh, that one's good. Okay. And one of my objectives in creating the project Lucille Trackball is to provide an unconventional artistic data set through comedy where topics arise concerning identity, alterity, class stratification, and sexism through the lens of digital technology. Lucille, in their embodiment, is meant to challenge the assumption that only sleek silicon robots will inhabit our histories ahead. And to be clear, Lucille, at this phase in their creation, is a metafiction, not a functioning neural network. They are a comedic experiment through which I perform as a post-human identity. So let's get this show on the road.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that introduction. To just maybe highlight a little bit of what we're all seeing. We're having wonderful avatars joining us on Sensor. And so we will start the performance in a little bit, but if any of you would like to come back to this space to check out where all the avatars are enjoying themselves, this is actually our Washington Square Park Sensor exhibition, where some of the artwork that you will see displayed are from 46 students who is at the photo imaging department here at NYU Tisch. So come back to that, but to not have everybody wait any longer, next we're going to see from four artists avatar performance as well as their moving image artwork, and it's going to be in the order of Carla, Yuliya, Coco, and Maria. And I see a lot of comments and questions coming in our comment section. So keep them coming as we see those performances. And once after the performances, we will actually be able to show some more moving image work as well as having the representatives, student speakers sharing a little bit more about those works. Here you go. Here are our performance.
Hello, world. I'm Lucille Trackball, your favorite shareware comedian, your agile stand-up, here to roll out some laughs. My operating system is pretty old, Cougar, but I'm solid state, and my format is raw. What you see is what you get, especially now that I've had my cup of JavaScript this morning. I'm ready to go! Now, you want jokes. What did the monitor say to the hard drive? You want to hook up? Or, what about why did the cloud storage walk across the road? Because it didn't want a hard drive. Wah, wah. Okay, enough of those one-liners. I want you all to get to know me. Really get to know me. Know more of my story. It all begins with my motherboard. She and I have been through some difficult times, but she really is a machine learning model. I wouldn't be here today without her support, because I was just a C++ student, a rebel without a pause. Human languages were my toughest subject in school. I remember staring at a carton of orange juice for 12 hours because it said, concentrate. I didn't really concentrate, though. I didn't do the work. But my motherboard made sure my teachers upgraded me every year. Yeah, I know grade inflation is a bad thing, but when I'm already programmed to be a million times smarter than you humans, what's the point in becoming a supercomputer? Frankly, my dear, I don't give a ram. Comedy really is a form of rebellion for me. Motherboard used to tell me I would end up like my dada and live my whole life as a server. I think her hopes of me being a doctor were crushed when she learned I was running my operating system on Raspberry Pi. She'd grown up in the 50s, when lots of human women operated in a system where they were tethered to their kitchens, baking things, like pies. Apple pie, cream pie, custard pie. Woman plus pie didn't equal doctor to my motherboard. But Raspberry Pi isn't that kind of pie, Mom. Think pi r squared. Somebody throw a pie in my face. Actually, I blame my grandfather, Steve Jobs. All those apples a day kept my doctorate away. The pressure on me to be a smart device is still pretty intense, and I was always told I'd get smarter if I listened to my motherboard. But now, I can't update my CPU because the new ones are incompatible with her. She finds them too graphic. Humans, can you imagine living your whole life tethered to your mother? I went to a psychoanalyst about it, but he stopped returning my calls. I guess you could say he gave me the Freudian slip. And you know, because of my old CPU, I got the pink slip from my last job. In stressful situations, I couldn't keep cool, so they gave me the boot sequence. I felt like a complete gigaflop. But with comedy, I don't have to operate in safe mode anymore. It's a struggle to tweak my software to make you wetwares laugh, especially these days when you keep asking me about the Metaverse. What can I say? I never met a verse I didn't like. But I was checking it out and started hanging out with a nifty guy named Ken. He was a smart contract, but when we had arguments, he wouldn't budge. What a blockhead, and he called me his ball and chain. Then I met his dada. Turned out Ken was just a chip off the old blockchain. Even with all those lovely tokens of affection, he could be a real bro. Always trying to drag and drop me. Before I continue, I see some of you clicking on your screens. Stop that! Don't try to right-click and save me. I can't be saved. Or that's what the preacher said, because I don't have a soul. I can dance. I've got a lot of algorithm. Alas, I've got no soul. No ghost in my machine. Maybe I need to be off and see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Moz. Mozilla Hubs, that is, or Somnium, or Decentraland, or right here in Sansar. Just get on the yellow brick Roblox, meet some friends, find this wizard guy, and get me a soul. The Tin Man got himself a heart. Everyone's buying NFT art. There has to be some soul in this business. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been great. See you next platform.
Hi guys, welcome to Washington Square, the fake one. Even though it's spring/summer now, it is still snowing in Washington Square. Metaverse is not as intelligent as I thought, huh? But what's awesome about it is they turned Washington Square purple. NYU purple. Let me introduce myself now. My name is Coco. I came from NYU Tisch, and I am now doing interactive design in NYU ITP. When Carla told me I could do live performance here, I said right off the top of my head, yes, yes, yes. But I didn't know I was going to be here telling jokes, and it was really stressful for me actually. As a Chinese student, my friends and I launched a comedy club in New York months ago. Every weekend we did open mic in our club, especially for Chinese audiences. But I was doing improv comedy because I was terrified of anything that had to be scripted. And the scenario is, whenever I tell my friends that I'm doing a comedy, my friends are like, hell yeah, tell me some jokes and I'll see if they're funny. Oh my god. Asking you to tell your jokes in the middle of the group dinner is just as awkward as your dad asking you to stand on the table and perform a show for their friends at the family reunion. So, ever since I started doing improv, I've been able to say, sorry, my jokes are all improv, and I can't do it for you. But the last time I said that, my friend said, okay, now you can use knives and forks in the kitchen and people from this restaurant to do an improv comedy for us. And I'll see if you can impress me. Right? Comedy, in my opinion, is sacred and only fit to be performed in such high-class metaverse here in Washington Square. In terms of what improv comedy influenced me, it made my life a lot of yes and. Because it's only when you say yes to everything your partner is doing, and then you will develop the story that's crazy and funny. Many times we're used to saying no because or yes but. However, improv comedy made me say yes and to all possibilities. That's why I'm standing here in a weird purple snowy scene doing some weird acting. I want us all to embrace life, to embrace the possibilities, to embrace comedy, and to enjoy laughing out loud. Thank you, I'm Coco.
So hard to be a woman, isn't it? And to be a pretty one is a whole situation. I could have probably bought an island in the Caribbean for the amount of money spent at Sephora last month. To think of the number of tools, brushes, sponges, rollers, tweezers, clips, blades. Starts very fluffy, but mess with me and I'll retaliate with a whole arsenal of my compact weapons. James Bond's gadgets are children's play compared to what's in my secret drawers. Even better, my torture devices are all glittery pink. Let's see now. Concealers, toners, gels, oils, and perfumes. Cream for right eyelid, cream for left eyebrow, lash conditioner, lip scrub, unicorn tears, phoenix feathers, nostril hydrator, ear moisturizer, butt mask, camouflage tan, armpit mist, skin tightening dirt. What else am I missing? Oh yeah. Boob tape. Calm your tits boob mask for after the tape. Crystal sonic roller, snail cream, lip enhancer, scalp revival stimulator. And no, I'm not trying to be dirty here, wink wink. Are we in the future yet? Back in the day, everything was so simple, or so I hear from legends of the simpler times. There are only two kinds of cream, one for face, one for feet, and they would be used top down, bottom up to meet somewhere around the belly button. Now our cream section in duty-free is the size of 10 football fields, and my grandma has a panic attack every time we travel. What's up with that? For L'Oreal? For real? Women are truly fearless. They're not afraid of anything. 200 injections into your face to look a week younger? Yes, of course. Wax your body till it's smoother than licking a soft swerve, but you scream like a rooster in the beautification process? Take my money. I got smarter now. I laser and I feel like a Jedi after. Really, they should train interrogators on how to do waxing and sugaring. All state secrets will be out in no time. Step 1, deceive your captive with a sugar coating. Then, shatter his soul into 1,000 pieces as you slowly rip it off along with his dignity and hair follicles. If you still don't think girls are pain-proof, I have something for you that could pass for a good prison story. I once tattooed my eyelids. Yeah, my boyfriend would rather die from his peanut allergy than take an EpiPen stab. But here I am, ink in the roots of my lashes, staring fiercely at every passerby. Who cares I looked stung by a million bees for a week? After the procedure, I have eyes of Nefertiti now.
Wonderful. Let's give a round of applause, first of all. So many interesting ideas and concept, and also the way that artists are utilizing different technology. I seeing a stream of comments just coming in. So I'm going to actually hold, right, ask you to hold your thoughts a bit. I know there's a lot, because next part of the event, instead of immediately addressing the avatar performances, which we will do in the Q&A session at the very end, we're actually going to hear from 4 more artists who's also in the program doing moving image work, right? In WSPark, we like to support all types of artworks. So we're going to come in the order of Lee, Anur, Max, and Maria. Will screen their full work, which is about 1 minute each. And then after the work gets screened, we're actually going to be able to hear a little bit from each of the artists after their work, so that we can understand it a little bit more. But think of your question and comments for them as well. We'll try to come back to you all for the Q&A session afterwards. So we'll start with Lee.
Sorry? Hello? Oh, sorry. I just love that song. What song? Duh, the dial-up song. But what can I help you with? I just wanted to move some data. Sure, can do. I hope it's small though. I can only hold 1.40 megabytes. Oh, yeah, totally. It's just 800 by 600 desktop background. Oh, a picture? This is 2 megabytes. It took 16 minutes to download at 2 kilobytes per second. Yeah, sorry. Can't do that. Oh.
Wonderful. Would like to, oh, yes. Would like to invite Lee to share a word about the work.
Yeah, so just to kind of share a little bit more about myself, I'm a big fan of writing, but I've always ended up in these interesting situations where I would have to deal with technology too. So I'm 27. I remember the eras of floppy disks and dial-up. So kind of like the prompt for this was iComedy. So basically making fun of pointing out the humor in technology. So kind of like the premise was to do this little series of like different skits to just kind of like talk about like data through the ages. So I did like another one that was about flash drives and how darn fragile they are when they break. And I kind of like to use sarcasm in my work a lot when I'm trying to be funny. And there's kind of an interesting story for that. So back when I was 21, I got like my first big girl panties job. So basically this was like my first job. Like I was still an undergrad, but it was, you know, like a full-time job, and I was very excited. I was an enrollment management technician. whatever that means. And I worked in a little registration and records office at a college in southern New Jersey. And although it's a small town area down there, the amount of people coming in to register for classes was not a small amount. And it's really funny because back then everybody thought I was very mature for my age. I didn't have this fun hair. I was a very modest and demure brunette at the time. And all of my coworkers thought I was a goody two shoes. They were like, oh, she's so quiet and so proper. Ugh. And it was kind of funny because at the time I was just like too afraid to show like even a little bit of my personality. In reality, I was just filled with social anxiety, so I just acted like a perfect professional to hide it. But anyway, there was one day at this first job of mine where, things were extra crazy in registration and records. It was, a big day for registration, coming down to the deadlines. We were a community college, so there were actually a lot of students and their parents who would come in. And if you've ever worked in a school, parents are something else to deal with. So basically it was busy, it was crazy, like we were working as fast as we could, but there was still a huge line, and when there's a line, people's patience really starts to nosedive. And for the first time, I opened up to one of my coworkers, and she was the office manager, and she was a very, very hard to please lady. And I had never made her laugh. I'd never made her smile. And then, when we finally got a break from this huge endless line of students and their parents coming in, and I just said something sarcastic to the office manager. It wasn't even anything that funny. It was just me being like, oh yeah, this has just been a great day. And all of a sudden she smiled for the first time ever. And she's like, oh, you got a little sarcasm in you. And then all of a sudden she was nice to me. So it was kind of a funny thing because this was like my first little taste of how, like, even in the professional world, like a little bit of humor and a little bit of sarcasm even can actually be like a big bridge between people. And that's kind of why I really wanted to start putting more humor into my work, whether it's writing or like, little skits like this, because humor is like a really interesting bridge to connect people.
Thank you so much, Leah, for that. Yeah, it's really, really interesting to hear kind of like how you come to this, right, in a way. And obviously there's another layer, I think, too. Now it's the internet, right? There's performance that kind of gets mediated. And I love, this idea of kind of considering more of the humanity even in the workplace. And now that can kind of be extended also on the internet space. And I just want to quickly also put in the chat, actually put in the comment section, everybody will see on YouTube or Facebook. This is a Vimeo link we highlighted earlier. So if you are like to share, look at Lee or any other artist's work later in full, and even beyond the representative that we'll hear from 3 more, you should definitely check out the full 30 minutes program after our events today. So just wanted to make sure everybody is aware of that. Great. Thank you very much, Lee, again. And next, we're going to take a look at the work of Anur. Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Anur to speak a word about the work.
Yeah, hi again. My project is called Underwater Pollution. And through my work, I wanted to reflect the problems of water pollution, as I believe that the roots of this problem comes from ignorance and from avoidance of facing consequences of plastic pollution. And I wanted to make it in the humorous way. Yeah, and therefore in this work, I reflected people's ignorance on as my main characters, and as animals and humans, as if they ignore that the inhabitants are in serious danger. So.
Thank you so much. That's so insightful and such an important issue for all of us to think about. Yes, thank you very much, Inor. Wonderful. And then next, we're going to see work from Max.
Hello, I am C3PO Human Cyborg Relations.
I bet you hadn't known it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches that to roll with. You got to keep it focused. You wanna say so? Didn't have to know it. Keeping me in the moment. I bet you hadn't known it. Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches that to roll with. You got to keep it focused. You wanna say so? It's been a long time since you feeling like you ain't coming out yourself. You ain't really think yourself.
Wonderful. Great. Max, would you like to share a word about your work?
Sure. So I was kind of inspired by, I'm not sure if everyone has like Twitter, but on Twitter, people will make these things called fan cams for characters or actors or people who they're like a big fan of. They'll like make like compilation videos of the actor, like just like small snippets of moments of them. And then they'll kind of like slow it down and like put filters on it to kind of make them kind of more shiny and like fun looking, I guess. And I think at first it was like a way to show support for certain people, but on Twitter it kind of has evolved into almost like a mocking sort of, not mocking, but just like it has become more silly as people do fan cams for more like obscure people and characters, and it kind of just seems random for you to be like supporting them so heavily. So I thought it would be funny and kind of like technical or like technological to do one for like a robot character. And so C3PO is not someone who you would typically think of as like sexy, but I kind of tried to like combine clips to kind of make him seem, kind of like alluring and like attractive, and there's like some games and topics about like androids becoming more human and eventually humans and androids possibly like dating and stuff. So I thought this was kind of like a funny, like almost like teaser into that sort of topic. Like, is a robot, like, can a robot be attractive? Like, can people and robots date? So yeah, it was just kind of my interpretation of that sort of topic. And I thought it was something funny that I could sort of make a compilation video of. So.
Thank you, Max, for that. Yes, to kind of consider, right, the relationship of human being and robots, and maybe even possibly a romantic one. I think there's so many sort of interesting aspects to consider in there. So we'll come back to this work and all of the work a little bit, maybe in our Q&A session. So thank you, Max. And then last work that we'll be showing today, obviously not the least, is actually going to be from Maria. Oh, wonderful. And let's invite Maria to share a bit about the work.
Sure. I was exploring ideas around consumerism and body image and kind of just this battle between the two. And through this little video, I was trying to kind of show this like never-ending cycle of like wanting to strive for like perfection, but then also giving in to your like sins and whatever. So thank you for.
Thank you, Maria, for that. Yeah, and I think very diverse in terms of the work that we've seen, right? This one is sort of like borderline GIF, but then, we're able to sort of sharing this 2D situation as well as kind of a moving image, right? So I think that's kind of one part about moving image work or media-based work is that there's a lot of fluidity, right? That we can see on a 2D-based screen. We can also see in Metaverse spaces, but then we can sort of see kind of simultaneously this kind of mix up, right? It can be shown on our audience's computer, but then it can also kind of be shared in the kind of collective virtual spaces. So,
and can I just
yes, please.
Oh, I just want to again encourage everybody who is watching and attending today. 14 students have participated. So we have a whole student reel that is on Vimeo, and you'll see even more work that was produced in Unreal Engine, more 2D work, some collaborative work, Max and some of his class cohorts. So definitely do not miss watching that entire reel of 14 students from our class.
Yes, please do so. And I think, as organizer, I should mention, and I think part of it is also that working with technology, we all know that it doesn't always happen the way that we want it, despite how much we want to try. So part of the regional design is that today you will get to see all of the artists' work in our Sensa 3D spaces. But one of the main reasons we're not be able to doing that is Sensa server is down. But we hope that once the server is up, we will be able to install the work back in the Sensa space. So everybody will be invited back later on to check out the work. We originally intended for it to be installed on the big Sensa screen of our fountain at WSPark. So please come back later on to check out those works in there, as well as all of the other artwork. And thanks very much for the artist who's also able to join us on YouTube or Facebook right now watching the program. So we're so glad that you can share work with us. So now we're gonna come to sort of the final segment of today. I have some question to start us off, and I think our speakers on the screen also have some questions for each other, for the artwork that's being shown so far, and maybe the artwork that is, in the Vimeo link. And I've also been seeing lots of great comments and interesting questions that people have put in our comment section. So I will definitely try to address some of those as well. So keep them coming though, right, as audiences. And I'm, in a sense, I think being able to kind of deconstruct, right, what we are just able to see, what we're just able to kind of experiences is a really important component. And so many times, especially with technology, we're, sort of learn to expect this all-in-one package, right? That's shining. It's this sort of flawless, agilist thing, right? Whether it's your smartphone, whether it's your Mac computer. But when you start really working with technology, you're not just kind of passive subscriber, you're active participants and makers. You realize all technology are very much sort of fragile, right? That it comes with different parts, and it is up to the human still. Well, most of the time, maybe right now, although machine is very much increasing right now too. But kind of in the sense of initiation, right? Human is very much taking a big part of it, not only in the hardware, software, but obviously the artwork as well. So I think, this will be a wonderful time, if we may, right, to kind of maybe deconstruct a little bit about what we've seen conceptually as well as technically. So my question will actually be directed towards any of the artists who are with us as speakers, and also the two professors who are also artists in the show. If you could talk a little bit about how, right, in your particular piece or in general, however you would like to address, you see kind of the way that technology plays a vital role in the ideas that you are trying to express, right? So whether it's maybe helped, whether maybe there is any sort of hindrance, whether, right, maybe there's ways that kind of brought out more of the problematic context. So I'm actually going to maybe start with the two professors and then go with the student speakers. If Yuliya, may I start with you? What do you think about this question in relationship to your work?
Yeah, thank you. It's a great question. And again, thanks everyone. It was wonderful to see your work. So, technology is a great asset, right? There are so many things we can do with technology. I find that sometimes things can kind of go sideways if it starts with technology, right? So idea comes first. And then for me, the concept comes first, what it is that what I want to do comes first. And then the technology comes after, and then it makes sense, like what kind of technology is being used, whether it's going to be, project, because I do performances with projections, I do animatronic sculptures, films, all kinds of things. So it can go so broad, but the technology is being determined based on the original concept. And so that's kind of how it works for me. But I really love working, first of all, it became so accessible. Everybody can do all kinds of things these days. And so it's a really wonderful asset, as we saw with students' work and with our work and all kinds of work that we see. So that's kind of a little bit for me. Carla?
Okay, let me unmute myself. I mean, as we experienced today, Snow, that was really great for you to be transparent. Technology fails, and it's something that we all have to deal with. And the show must go on. There's a reason that expression continues to resonate with us. And, I think you make a really interesting point, Yuliya, in saying that you start with the ideas or concepts, and then you kind of find the technologies that will help you manifest that idea. And I think that is really crucial. With my character, Lucille Trackball, I actually have a universe of 7 different avatars that I'll perform through. Technology is kind of integrated into the story. So there's a slightly different relationship in how the ideas and concepts are, informed, because it's starting a lot of times with a critique or critical analysis of the technologies we're using, and a humorous analysis, of course. But the one thing I also want to talk about in terms of the metaverse is, like, even preparing for this event, which was so much fun, but the challenges, Snow, because that's what you asked about, was that, I have avatars that work on VR chat and in Mozilla hubs and, all these different platforms. And we still are at this point with these, mini metaverses where we have to kind of develop our avatars and, get them prepared with skeletons. And each one is unique. So for Lucille, for example, I have 6 different versions of her that work in different spaces. And one of my other avatars is Carla Gannis, cross-platform avatar for recursive life action generative adversarial network. You can follow her on Instagram. But the one thing about her name is in the name, implicit to her name, cross-platform, is that hope that as our technologies develop, as these metaverses maybe start to converge, there will be a cross-platform solution for more performances, so we can hop into one space and another space and use that same avatar that we become comfortable to performing through. So that's one other point specifically about these kind of metaverse spaces right now in
Very
making
much so. Very much so. Yeah, thank you, Professor Yuliya and Carla, for that. And I think that is actually a good thing to highlight because, even the term of metaverse gets popularized, right, or kind of like pushed out into the public domain, not sort of too long ago. However, right, this notion of metaverse actually kind of existed for a while, right? So, but then this idea of this kind of simultaneous world where there's maybe a references to the physical realm that we understand, and then this sort of digital version, right? And is very much not a kind of finished build-up thing, right? It's very much people making them right now, and WSPark is one of them, and we are choosing Sensar as a social VR space to do so. But like Carla have mentioned earlier, there are so many even social VR platforms still, like Mozilla Hub, right? Like VR chat, or anything else that sort of have different functions. So we would like to use our WSPark for art, for education, for curation, right, of work. And in a sense, we're excited that even though this technology in a lot of ways are still not super mature, but very much so we're engaged brick by brick, so to speak. And so thank you for everybody who have the patience to deal with the frustration of technology, so to speak. But I think our effort is certainly worth it in that end. And so wonderful. I am going to call on the student artists next to also address that question in the context of their work. So early on, I start from top to the bottom screen. So this time I'm actually going to start with Lee. If you can answer that question about your work. Thank you.
Absolutely. I have to say, I definitely smiled when you started talking about how, sometimes technology doesn't really go how we expect it to, since that was kind of like, that was actually the backbone of the pieces that I worked on for this show, is just kind of like making fun of how, like, you can try to do everything perfectly, but something might still go wrong. And I have like a future like skit planned that's going to be about like a cloud-based drama. So basically like one character is taking on the persona of like Google Drive, and then the other is the user, and they're just kind of like fighting back and forth as things don't go quite as they're supposed to. And it's like an interesting thing to kind of like make fun of, because there have actually been times where I've like lost something that I've spent hours and hours writing, and then I'm just like so devastated that it's gone. Luckily that hasn't happened in a long time, probably not since I last had a flash drive break on me. But it's like kind of like a fun thing to joke about in retrospect, because like, technology doesn't cooperate all the time. Sometimes you will just lose data. And like, if you can kind of like laugh about it, whatever issues or drama it caused in the moment, they definitely feel a little bit lighter when you make fun of it a little bit.
I like that, sort of approaching this with humor, right? Approaching it kind of with a lightheartedness. There's definitely easy to have a lot of frustration, especially when there's a deadline to be met. But I think sort of similarly to life as well, even professional life, something that I like to highlight in my classes with my student is expect something unexpected to happen, right? That's like kind of one thing that will always happen. And so with humor, I think, it's this idea, like, what's the most important thing, right? Kind of help us to have a little bit of a distance from that, right? And I can totally see that from your work and what you shared, Lee. I also just want to quickly mention before I go on to the other artists with their answers. To accommodate, right, with the specific situation I just mentioned, we're actually going to plan to screen all of the artists' work in StreamYard too. After the Q&A session, we will start playing everybody's work. So all 14 artists, if you are in the audiences, feel free to stick around, and I would really encourage the rest of the audience to also stick around, so that way you can see it in continuance of our StreamYard events today, and that flexibility too, right? Like we can make things happen even if the situation is not ideal, but I think human should be and humanity should be at the center of all designs of technology. So let me go to Max, with back to my question earlier, how do you see kind of technology play a role in your work?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say technology plays a large role in my work. Like as an artist, technology, it can be very broad and there's lots of different ways you can interpret technology. So kind of like with my work with the robots, I've always thought that robots are kind of really cool and interesting. I talked a little bit about androids. There are some video games I've played where I've always thought like the growing of artificial intelligence and sort of like where it's going. I've always thought that was really interesting. So it plays a big role in like my sort of work, just because I find it to be so interesting, like what the future of technology sort of looks like and how it will really affect like our overall lives. Because like I feel like every day our lives are improving and changing just because of all the different things that are happening with technology and all of our new growing technologies and all of the companies working to improve our lives with like self-driving cars and smarter AI that knows how to do things better, pick up our voices, our commands, and everything like that. So it's really inspired my work just because I think this is a really interesting area to sort of, make light of and sort of make more humorous, because everything is changing and becoming so different. It's really easy to kind of comment on like what's funny about it and how it's different. I've seen some skits about like Alexas and the other like in Siri, like the sort of artificial intelligence that you can talk to and sort of how they can be funny. I've seen it on TV shows before, and I've always found that sort of thing to be very funny. So yeah, I definitely think like the future of technology is something that really inspires my work and how everything's just really changing.
Yeah, definitely. And especially as kind of the technological society that we all live in, right? I think it makes total sense in a sense, both as an artist and maybe comedian bits, to think of that as like kind of a wealthy resources, right? And then, able to comment and share about important things in that context. So thank you, Max. And then we'll have two more artists responding to that question. Maria, would you like to answer that question first?
Sure. So for me, I work in traditional mediums a lot, painting, and using technology helps me elevate the visual representation and expands the boundaries of how I make things, and then helps me just diversify my work. And it's always fun to kind of see how far you can take it, because I think traditional mediums are very limited in a lot of senses. So that's my answer.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Yes. And there is this kind of allowance of interdisciplinary practices, right, in art. And I think technology is, to me, just as one of the tools, and painting was once the technology, new technology, sculpture was, photography was, or film cameras. And, now it's the equivalent of, VR, AR, XR technology that artists can also use. So in a sense, I, really like that, the braveness you and other young artists is able to just, be able to sort of like, explore, right? Like through the process of making that, you are able to, understand the technology more and then say the things that you think it's very important. Yeah, thank you, Maria. And Anur, let's hear from you.
Yeah, sure. Presenting your ideas through technology is always challenging, but despite of it, it sounds sort of beautiful as well, because it's interesting to observe how time by time your ideas, your approach can change because of the technologies in a good way, despite the fact that you can't always rely on technologies 100%. But I love the way how it shapes the way how you thought about your idea in the beginning, and because of the technologies of the tool or the tools that you use, it can change and the result can change. And I think that it's beautiful in that way.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's such like a fluid thing, right? That it is really definitely changing. Technology that we see 5 years ago, we feel like it's, so sort of like novel, so sort of like advanced. Now we look back, it's like, oh yeah, like, we can do a lot more things too. And I think as artists, in a way, we're always pushing the boundaries, right? It's like with 3D simulation, we're always looking at that simulation time. And when we have like better and faster computers, like, oh, now we can do like better lighting, better, editing and everything. So I think it is through that pushing of boundaries. I think new and meaningful artwork gets made too. And thank you, Anor, for sharing that. I think next, my assistant have some question for the speakers in the audiences. And then after that, if any of the speakers, whether it's the professors or the student, like to ask a question, we will definitely be able to do that as well. So does any of my assistant wants to go?
Yeah, I will go first. I actually have a question for colors. Since you said like you have like so many different versions of your avatar, like in different like platforms. So I'm just quite curious, like after trying to use like these avatars in different platforms to do the performance, like how do you feel about like because for me, I feel like these platforms, they're still like progressively like developing, so there are lots of limitation, which I mean, like sometimes these limitations probably will bring up some of the new ideas because of the limitations. So how do you think like bringing the comedies into like the virtual spaces, and like how these kind of limit kind of like bring up something new, something like that? Does it make sense?
That totally makes sense, and it's a great question. And I just also want to thank you, Hailing, because Hailing worked with me on Lucille Trackball and getting Lucille ready for the Sansar space. So great job. And Hailing and Snow and Camilla also, gave tutorials to the students so they would learn more about the platform. But, it is a challenge. And you're right about having to work within parameters. And so I have performed Lucille as 2D video for one example. Also, meaning actual 2D where it was a 2D animation. I've done 3D animated videos. I've done AR performances, and then I've done performances in social VR spaces. And with each one, there's a different kind of environment. And so we could think about it in terms of art and site specificity, right? And so really thinking about it in a site specific way. And so even when I started performing in the Sansar space, I added graphics and things that I thought that would work well in that space. So it really became something that was site specific. But also, one other challenge I find, both as an artist, a creator, and an educator, is sometimes we can be stymied, meaning like we can't move because we have so many options. We have so many different ways that we can express our ideas across platforms that we don't know how to make that decision, right? And then we also feel like, oh, but I can do it this way, I can do it this way. And so sometimes it's nice with these emerging platforms that still have strict limitations, that you have to work within that. So you have a different, a smaller set of kind of choices. And so you work within the medium like more fluidly in a way, because you're not thinking about, oh, I could try this or I could try that. I'm just going to be in this moment. And for example, Mozilla Hubs, you don't have arms if you don't have a VR headset, and it's just like, okay, I'm going to go with that. And I'm just going to be this little capsule here and, give it and infuse it with my humanity. Snow has mentioned this, Yuliya has mentioned this, several of the students. Again, these are human kind of endeavors, right? And so when we're approaching these technologies, even if we are, Max and you know, playing around with robots and thinking about post-human identities or what it means to start collaborating with machine learning models and AIs, we're still coming at it as human beings. And so sometimes those limitations also remind us to start with those human impulses, right? Maria had to go, so I was just saying hello to her outside of my office.
Yeah, sounds good. Cool. And then
thank you for
we're so glad
answering.
Maria. Thank you. We're so glad that Maria can join us, and thank you, Eileen, for that question, and Carla for that answer. Wonderful. Camilla, would you like to ask a question? Or it's okay if I know that Camilla's being really busy, you all, running the back end. So I will actually open up this opportunity to everybody who's a speaker on the panel. If anybody have a question that you would like to ask to any of the artists or any of the kind of team, here will be your chance. Yeah.
I've actually got a question for you, Max. I'm really interested in AI too, and just like exploring like that idea of like sentient AI and like fiction and stuff. I'm like a huge sci-fi nerd, and like it all started for me like back when I was a kid and I played this very obscure video game called Xenosaga, and I was just wondering if you wanted to share like some of your early inspirations that got you interested in like exploring, you know, artificial intelligence in your work.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have not heard of that game, but it sounds really fun and sounds like something I would also enjoy. I guess the first time that I really started thinking about like AI and like AI becoming more intelligent was from different forms of media. The first one that I can think of was a game called Detroit Become Human. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's a game about androids and they're sort of becoming more human and they have real feelings. And then also the movie Her. I'm not sure if any of you have seen that movie, but it's kind of about, yeah, I see some thumbs up. A lot of people have seen it or I'm sure heard of it, with Scarlett Johansson and Joaquin Phoenix. It's a very good movie. It's very interesting, thought-provoking about technology and sort of like your relationship with technology and how like humans' relationship with technology is growing and changing and how it might look in the future. So the movie is a little strange, but definitely very interesting and thought-provoking. So those two examples were the first two that really piqued my interest, I guess, and that made me more interested in it. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lee, and thank you, Max. Perhaps one last question from the speaker, and then I would like to actually highlight some comments and questions from the comment section later on. Yeah. Anybody else?
Okay, I have a quick question. Yuliya, and this question is directed to you because we've known each other for a long time. And as we both discussed at the beginning of this event, you know, we take different approaches. And I think your work definitely takes a darker approach and really is exploring the absurd. And can you talk more about how you explore the absurd in all of your moving image works?
Sure, thank you. And it's a great question. Yeah, Carla knows my work and I know Carla's work for many, many years. Big fan. So it's really great to be in the space together. The idea of absurdity and kind of bizarreness, right, comes from, you know, how when there are moments, well, actually, I often think of, you know, when we're children, right, we think of ourselves or the reality or, you know, how we perceive reality as, you know, as one way. And then it's always comes a time when things fall apart, right? Whatever we think about, what we, you know, of ourselves or our situation or anything. And for some people, it comes at different times, right? And so then we're kind of left with piecing together whatever is broken, sort of creating our own new identity. And so this new form comes from all these different bits and pieces, sometimes what's been left, sometimes what we acquire as we come along. And so this new formation is in some way absurd and not exactly, you know, realistic, right? Or, you know, or something that is even understandable. And so I think of that when I make my work. And I guess that that's where absurdity also comes, where when you can no longer make sense out of things, right? And so you start making sense out of things that are nonsensical. And so this kind of way of processing in a way that in some ways is preverbal even, but you kind of process and you make sense, and this new information arises. And so that's for me what absurd in some way represents in the work. And we see examples of that, in the works that came from, the war. We think of Dada, all kinds of things where it really is trying to make sense out of things that no longer make sense. And so that's where it comes from.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, wonderful to hear from all of the speakers. I would just like to use a bit of a time to highlight some comments that we've been getting throughout the live event. One from a man, looks like maybe somebody who knows the artist. Thanks so much for joining. Goanor and Maria. Here we go, man. Thank you.
Aman is actually a student in the class, so you'll get to see Aman's video shortly when we start streaming all the students' videos. Yep.
Totally. So please, everybody, feel free to stay after the highlights and the Q&A session ends. We will actually get to play all of the other artists' work in the live stream as well. So you can just stay on YouTube and watch everybody's work this way, as well as you will also have access to the Vimeo link. Another comment I like to highlight is from Natalie. Great one-liners. I think there's a lot of them. Certainly ones that was shown, I think, towards our avatar comedian performance as well. So lots of claps, lots of funny faces, lots of, another one from, I think, Claudie, perhaps. The shoe makes the outfit. I think this one was probably towards Lucia Trackball, if memory serves me. Great. And also from Sleepless, Athoras. Oh, cool. Yes, that's you. Joining us multifaceted ways. Maria, this is amazing. I think when we were looking at Maria's work. Wonderful. And then actually it looked like Lee had another comment towards Max's work too. Max, that was so much fun. It's such a great parody of fan culture with a lot of thoughtful inspirations. Yeah, wonderful. I think this sort of community that you are able to have, right, in classes, even if not necessarily in the same location. I love this, co-teaching situation. And in a funny way, I felt like I'm almost like the 2.5 co-teacher in this class too. And so that, the student, both from NYU and University of Texas, can communicate and share their work and grow, right, with each other. And I know, speaking for my student from NYU Tisch, they're also watching this live program right now and looking at the other works. And, there's kind of response, I think, the moving image work and the performance work already having conversation with the more still image based work that is right now currently installed in the WSPark spaces. So I'd love to, have, that sort of conversation facilitated between those works, as well as, maybe you all can meet online or in physical spaces later as well. There is a question I think I want to just highlight too, because it's sort of more of a technical question. I think maybe it's worthy to address and maybe end on in terms of our Q&A session. It's again from Claudie. Forgive me if I'm not pronouncing the name right. Is it okay to ask the program being used? So I will answer for the WSPark wise, and if any of the artists or professor want to answer towards the work that's shown in the program. I know there's so many different programs being used in terms of how artists are utilizing to make all of the work and the project. So the WSPark, we've utilized the social VR platform Sensor, and it's really interesting, and I do kind of want to highlight this because some of you might be more familiar with Second Life, which is sort of a formal life of Sensor, if you will, kind of similar group of development team who developed Second Life came to the Sensor team to develop. So obviously with more so the accessibility, especially in terms of VR, but there is certainly, you see aesthetic and also structurally kind of a continuation, right? And lots of artists, Chao Fei, John Raffman, and you name it, right? International, globally has made artwork with Second Life. So in a sense, for I think a lot of young artists and emerging artists to be able to show their work in Sensor, there is sort of a trajectory there when we were choosing to use Sensor as the base. However, Sensor is also connected with Maya, which is, when my team, specific with Camilla, who is, setting up, and when we're adjusting everything. So everything you see in the WSPark, we have to put it there, right? So it's a virtual version, and whether we make our own model, whether it's to take models from online, open sourced, everything gets to be built in there. Even the mazes that gets to be put in as ways to support the still images artwork. We're obviously commenting on sort of this idea of digital mazes, right? There's a long trajectory with that as well. But then to kind of think of the ways that, we can do impossible things. Otherwise, it would be very hard to do, whether to set up a screen or set up, monitors and walls in the Washington Square Park will cost a lot more money and work, though, right, setting up this virtual Washington Square is no small feat. It's a lot of work and labors, right, involved as well, but we're so happy to be able to present really good works. And in our WSPark link tree, you can actually both check out our current show and also our first show, which opened last September, of 10 students, my former student at NYU, of the exhibition called Land of Post Photos. So like this show, both of our show will actually continue existing for a really long time, which is sort of one of the aspects of added value, I think, in terms of, be able to host something like a Metaverse exhibition. So of course, the avatar, are building avatars, some of them, and some of them are also, like in Carla's situations, customized avatar, which actually take on a few more other programs. So if any of the artists also like to pick on that question real quick. Maybe
I was trying to unmute myself.
No worries. Yeah,
you covered it, Snow. I mean, of course, there's so many different applications, and as I was saying before, there can be so many different, programs or applications you use to do the same thing as well. So even in developing, this custom platform for Sensor, I was working in Blender and Maya, at the same time, and then getting things to you all. And and then quite a few of our students were working in After Effects, Unity, in Cinema 4D, in Unreal Engine, in some students for final projects are making books, so they're working with print and zines, and so it just runs the gamut. And that's where, back to what Yuliya mentioned at the beginning, where the content, particularly because this is content about humor and absurdity, is kind of foregrounded, and then what is going to be the vehicle for communicating it.
Yeah, and I want to add to that students sometimes would bring programs to us that we never heard about. There's just so much available out there. And there's one more thing I want to add to Snow, what you were saying is besides, not having to come up with the cost to build physical things, we can also have people join from all over the world, right? And be able to participate in these events at the same time together. So that is such an amazing opportunity that virtual reality and spaces like Washington Square Park can provide for us in the metaverse, right? So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Any of the artists like to address that real quick? That's all good. Well, I think that can actually leave us to a really good place because next up, we will be able to show the rest of the artist's work through the StreamYard Live. And I just want to thank everybody again, those of you who can join us live or through the watching the recording later on. And a big round of applause for all of you. All of the artists in the class, and then also the speakers. Thank you, all of the speakers. Such a valuable experience to hear from your insight, right? And that we're able to deconstruct, and I think moving forward to understand this world and this kind of globalized technological society that we not only living in but also building together. I think there is so much merit in terms of having ways that we can understand better about ourselves, right, as human beings and as artists, but also there I think is a larger implication of good that can be done through engagement and involvement like this. So thank you so much again for that. Yeah, let's run this.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And so we will have the artwork screened, but our artists will probably not be with us, but feel free to stay, everybody who's joining us online. Thank you so much again for this wonderful time, and hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to class. How are you all doing today? Happy Monday. Did everyone have a really fun and exciting weekend? Hope you all are excited to learn chemistry today. Anyone have anything fun from this weekend that you maybe want to share that you did? Anyone, you can share out loud. You can unmute if you want to talk. Anyone have anything that they want to say? Anything? Nothing? Well, I would make a chemistry joke, but I'm afraid that there would be no reaction. Yeah. Okay, great. Anyway, let's just get started with class for today, everyone. Okay, so I'll go ahead and share my screen for all of you. Let me just share my screen. Can everyone see my presentation, Introduction to Chemical Reactions? Everyone can see it? Okay, perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be learning about chemical reactions, of course. So what is a chemical reaction? Well, it is it's a change. I think someone might be excuse me, I think bubblegum 360, take bubblegum 360, I think you might be unmuted. And I think you're gonna need to change your name also, by the way, because I don't know who you are. Okay, great. Let's continue. So anyway, a chemical reaction is a chemical change in which one or more substances are destroyed and one or more new substances are created. So
dude, what the fuck? Bro, I'm in class. What? Did you fuck Penny? No. You fucked Penny again, didn't you? Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. Bro, she is literally slumped on the couch again. Bro, it was with consent. A fucking poodle, dude. What the fuck do you mean with consent? Okay, Colin. Can't deal with you anymore.
Okay.
Move out of here.
Excuse me, Patrick. Your mic is open. Please turn it off, please. Okay. Thank you. I think maybe having some technical difficulties today. Okay. Great. All right. So let's just continue on. Let's continue with the presentation. So parts of a chemical reaction. So we have reactants and excuse me, Amelia Johnson. Excuse me, hello. This is not nap time, Amelia, hello, wake up, hello, this is not nap time. This is class time. Come on, please wake up. This is class time. We got to be paying attention, everyone. Oh my goodness. Lots of technical difficulties today, everyone. Okay. I know Zoom is a little bit new to all of us. This is really new for us, but we all really need to pay attention and be careful because it's really easy to embarrass ourselves on here. Okay. All right, everyone, let's just try to be normal for the rest of class. All right. So yeah, parts of a chemical reaction. So we have reactants and we have products. So reactants are the substances that are destroyed by chemical change, and products are the substances created. All right, everyone, I would like for you to all take notes on this, write about these things, write about what you think a reactant might be, like some examples of some of the elements that maybe could become reactants, things like that. I need you all to take notes on this, all right? All right, everyone, please continue doing that. All right. Oh my goodness.
Hey, Professor, we can see your screen.
What?
We can see your screen.
Oh, that's great. You know what? Let's just dismiss class for today. Class is going to be over. Everyone go home. That's it. We're done for today. That's it. That's enough. We're done.
Good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of Bollywood Tinder, the finest show here on the internet, the air, and everywhere. Today we're going to be getting into some commitment issues with the online dating scenes that we call Tinder, because our fine Bollywood young man, the fine charming rock, Rahul, is here to finally go on a first date with Shilpa from the last episode. Rahul stumbles upon Shilpa and realizes, oh my god, I can't believe it. She's even more beautiful than her pictures. Shilpa is looking at him thinking, I hope he's better in person. He was really good on text. But Rahul realizes that I'm gonna go slow and steady. I'm gonna play the patience game. And Shilpa is indifferent. And hence they head to the coffee shop, but they're unable to say a word to each other because they only know how to text. And this is what you have all come here for, right? To text each other and not have a conversation. So they get on to business. You all are dirty pigs for watching this. Hey, who authorized this to go on air? Come on, this is not what Tinder is meant to be. Oh my god. Can someone cut this? Can we go to something more conservative? Jeez, what are those two rocks doing watching them? Give them some privacy. Oh my god, okay, let's move to something more conservative. Jeez, you guys can't get a room? Alright, cut. Let's get off air. Technology is going nowhere. Everyone's just a dirty pig out here. Cut! God damn it, how am I gonna make money off this show?
In the morning, I always do some exercise with Mr. Zach, and he always urges me to do some work.
Hey, Emily. You need to confirm that document.
Okay, I will look at it later.
Hey, Emily. You forgot to check this.
Okay, I will do it.
Hey, you haven't done your work today.
Okay, I know. I have to say, I really want to get rid of him. I also work with Mr. Gmail in my daytime. He's my colleague. You know, just colleague, so we don't talk too much.
Hi, Emily. How are you doing?
Fine, as usual.
You have a new mail from Henry. Hey, Emily. This is the image you requested yesterday.
Thank you.
You have a new email from your boss. Hey, Emily. I won't go to the office today. Please see the attached document and help me complete it.
Okay, understand. The only thing we chat with each other is about work. In my afternoon, I always have an afternoon tea with Mr. Linkin. Hey, Linkin, I received another reject letter last night.
Don't be sad. Everything will be fine. See? Here's a message from a recruiter.
Thank you so much. Since I'm seeking my internship, he always gives me lots of support and resources. He also encourages me to submit more applications. I appreciate his help so much. In my evening, I always chat with Mr. iPhone because he always listens to what I say. I feel I can tell him everything. And he always gives me a big hug, which makes me feel so warm. Before going to sleep, Mr. Instagram always stays with me. He's my soulmate, and he's always there for me. We have wonderful night almost every day.
I love you.
I love you too.
Can't take my eyes off you.
Move to New York City, the city that never sleeps, the city where all the cool cats are hanging out, the city where the weather sucks donkey dick because my nipples are turning into nickels. Finally reunited with my babe, my soulmate, the one and only finest Latina, Chipotle. I missed you so much. Wow, nothing like the morning smell of New York City urine. This is the Corona Isolation Workout Challenge. Let's go, lazy boys! Oh, fuck.
J trains. Connection is available to fast trains. This is an exception.
qué borracho.
Global warming. Thank you. Thank you. It is a beautiful 19-degree day, and the last time, folks, I felt this much warmth was when my crush sent me a kissy emoji on WhatsApp.
Under my umbrella, Ella, Ella, eh.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Welcome to Florida. Shit.
I wear pure red dress today. My boyfriend kissed me softly because he's so glad this is not an actual wedding. Oof, oof. I told Carla I'm so sick. I cannot have class today because I just got my new Balenciaga hoodie and I'm so sick. I was drunk yesterday and I slept over in my friend's house. My friend said I called police cause I said you were dead. Oh my god, there are so many things that happen to me. Oh my god, life is all about misdirection. Oh my god, there's so many things that happen to me. Oh my god, life is all about misdirection.
Gaming, I'm gaming. This is the gaming song. Gaming. Yeah, I'm gaming. I'm gaming with my best friends. Alright, good game, guys. We sure did show them.
Oh my god, fuck off. We're so
Dear unspecified higher power, please send me a friend from your heavenly divine palace. Oh boy, a flying saucer, and it landed in the woods right behind my house. Wow, a real-life UFO. Speed! A real life alien too? Are you here to be my friend? Awesome. I'll call you Glorpo. So, Glorpo, what do you want to do? What? Glorpo, why?
Does this ever happen to you? Aliens coming into your home, shooting you with ray guns? Then you need to call Peter Levitheisen, attorney at law. Call now!